Ada, a young white woman, lived with her black boyfriend Marcus, whom she had recently met and had grown to love. Marcus was a quiet and thoughtful man, but Ada's family had no idea who he was. Ada had always been hesitant to tell her family about Marcus because her family had strict values from the past and were known for their conservatism. Her family's racial prejudices had always been part of their lives, but now things were even more complicated. Ada was pregnant from her relationship with Marcus. In the first weeks, Ada could hardly admit this fact even to herself. She began to writhe in fear and uncertainty. How would she tell her family and Marcus? She knew that he had enough love in his heart to accept everything, but she was afraid of her family's reaction. While she was going through this dilemma, Marcus proposed to her as a surprise. Ada was shocked and accepted the proposal, but it was not enough to solve their problems. After a short time, Marcus decided to go to her parents' house to meet Ada's family and announce his intention to marry their daughter. Although Ada was initially against the idea, Marcus was really determined. The most important thing for him was to unite his life with the woman he loved. He was ready to do everything he could to make his family accept him, but there was a great fear in Ada's heart. When Marcus and Ada arrived at Ada's family's big and grand house that day, Marcus tried to keep his cool, even though he was feeling nervous. When they entered, Ada's mother and father did not greet them warmly. The mother looked at Marcus with almost disgust. Her father's expression was one of wanting this man out of their house as soon as possible. Ada's brother watched them with a wry smile. When they sat down at the table, Marcus politely began to tell them about their relationship and that he wanted to marry Ada. But before Marcus could even say a few sentences, Ada's father quickly interjected in anger. "How dare you talk about my daughter? Who are you? What business do you have with our family?" her father said, not hiding his anger. Marcus continued to express himself with great patience, but his words were ignored. Ada's mother intervened. "This relationship is wrong from the very beginning. This kind of thing is never allowed in our family. My daughter cannot make such a mistake." Ada couldn't hold back her tears, but she couldn't get her voice out. When Marcus looked into her eyes, he could feel her helplessness, but her parents kept making the situation more difficult. Finally, his father said, "There is no need to drag this out any longer. We don't want this kind of disgrace in our family. We have never had anything to do with the likes of you," he said sternly, attempting to kick Marcus out of the house. Ada's brother said in a contemptuous tone, "You could at least have a proper job. But what else can you expect from people like you?" he sneered. Marcus stood up slowly, already expecting Ada's family to stoop to such a low level, but the harsh words still hit home. "I know who I am," Marcus said, "and I really love your daughter Ada, and no amount of prejudice will change that." Marcus's words made the family even angrier. Ada's father said, "Get out of here quickly, or we will have to force you out of here," he threatened. Just then, Ada stood up. She had a determined look on her face. "Marcus is not going anywhere. If anyone has to leave this house, it will be me," she said bravely. The air in the room suddenly turned cold. "What nonsense are you talking?" her mother shouted. "Are you defending this man to me? Are you choosing this dark-skinned man over your family?" Ada said firmly, even though tears were flooding her eyes. "Yes, I prefer it, because Marcus loved me for who I am. He accepted me for who I am. And you? You are only acting on your own prejudices," she said. Ada's father punched the table in anger. "I will not accept such a disgrace in this house. If you go with that black man, you will never set foot in this house again." Ada stopped for a moment, took a deep breath and held Marcus's hand tightly. "Then we're leaving," she said, "and I don't care if this house is closed to me now." As Marcus and Ada walked out the door, Ada's father yelled angrily after them, but they didn't back down. When they were out the door, Ada took a deep breath. As they started to walk together, Marcus held her hand tightly. "I don't have a family like this anymore," Ada said, tears dripping from her eyes. "But we won," Marcus said softly, turning to her. "And I promise to always be there for you." It had been the hardest decision Ada had ever made in her life, but standing by Marcus meant standing up to the whole world. Now she was carrying the responsibility of a new life and at the same time defending her love for him. But the real shock had yet to hit. After leaving her parents, Ada and Marcus moved into a small apartment and started to build their new life. At first, everything seemed difficult. Ada struggled with the sadness of losing her family completely, while Marcus did everything he could to comfort her. Marcus's patience, love, and support slowly began to heal Ada's wounds. As they prepared for their baby's future together, Ada's disconnection from her family brought them closer together. After a while, Ada's pregnancy began to be noticed from the outside. Feeling the baby's kicks was the first time in Ada's life that she felt such happiness. And yet, there was always a sadness in her heart. Her family did not accompany this happiness and remained completely distant from her. Even though Marcus had always shown her his support, there was always a deep sense of emptiness inside Ada. She was in her 8th month of pregnancy when Ada's phone suddenly rang one day. It was her father. Ada picked up the phone in surprise but hesitated whether to answer or not. Marcus, who was with her, looked at her and tried to encourage her with a slight nod of his head. Ada took a deep breath and answered the phone. "Ada," her father said, his voice unusually soft and fragile, "we need to talk." Ada didn't know what to say. She just listened in silence. "I know I said some terrible things and you are upset with me. Maybe unforgivable things, but I have some bad news about your mom right now." Ada's heart started to squeeze. "What happened to my mom?" she asked worriedly. "Your mom got sick a few weeks ago. At first we thought it was nothing, but it got more and more serious. The doctors, she doesn't have much time left." Fear and sadness filled Ada's heart. She remembered her last moments with her mother's scornful looks, her hurtful words. And now this had shaken her when she least expected it. The idea of losing her mother without meeting and reconciling with her mother upset Ada. "Do you want to talk to her?" her father asked. "Your mother wants to see you." Ada thought for a moment, then turned to Marcus. She had a look in her eyes, not knowing what to do. Marcus nodded his head in agreement. Ada went back to the phone. "Okay," she said, her voice shaking. "I want to see him and talk to him." Marcus and Ada drove to the hospital. Ada was excited and scared to see her mother. She and her family were disconnected. Seeing her mother one last time might help. When they got to the hospital, Ada's dad was in the lobby. His eyes showed sadness and regret. Ada saw that he was weak. Her father led them to her mother's room. When he opened the door, Ada was excited. Her mother was in bed, weak. Her face was pale and tired, but her eyes filled when she saw Ada. "Ada," she said, her voice low. "I missed you, my daughter." Ada sat next to her mother. She cried too. "I miss you too, Mom," she said. Her mother touched Ada's face. "I'm sorry for what I did to you," she said. "It's just, I was scared. I did wrong because I was scared of losing you." Ada saw her mother was sincere. The anger, resentment, and pain inside her were slowly disappearing. "We can't change the past, but we can change the present," Ada said. Marcus walked in. Ada's mother looked at Marcus. She was silent for a long time, but her eyes didn't look contemptuous. She took a deep breath and said, "Thank you, Marcus, for taking care of my daughter." Marcus blinked. "I loved her," he said gently. Ada's mother smiled. "That's what matters most," she said. "I wish I had known that sooner." Ada's inner storms calmed down that day. Her peace of mind with her mother helped her relationship with Marcus. But her exams weren't over. A week later, Ada's mother died. Ada would remember her mother until she died. Her family was starting to reconcile and forgive, but it was not yet fully recovered. However, Ada's father was still prejudiced. He was uncomfortable with Marcus at her mother's funeral and still saw him as a stranger. Marcus was patient. He believed everything would get better. After the funeral, Ada and Marcus went to her father's house. They knocked on the door. Ada's father opened it looking angry. "I need to talk to you about your daughter," he said firmly. "After your mother died, I decided who would get our family's inheritance. You won't get any while you're with Marcus." Ada looked at her father, shocked. "How could you do that, Dad?" she asked. "This is my final decision," her father said. Ada took a deep breath. held Marcus's hand, and looked at her father. "If this is your decision, I don't want anything from you. My family is over." Marcus and Ada left the house without looking back. No ties stood in their way. Their love made them stronger. That's the end of the story for Marcus and Ada. Thanks for listening. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel to support me. Bye.